Well, Dr. Clark and Dolph Zonting, they actually picked up a whole lab from the famous German scientist, Dr. Fritz Albert Popp. And he invented this biophoton technology that can capture every single biophoton. Every single living thing exudes these tiny particles of light. And he created a technology that can capture every single one of them. So you can very accurately measure vitality of a biological system using that thing. And very soon into the research, Dr. Clarker discovered that when you change water, biophoton emissions start to change dramatically. He realized that the water is basically the most fundamental level of our existence. When you change that, entire biology follows. And all of our research that we did in the years that followed very accurately proved that when you change the water, everything else changes.
Okay, so what we're saying is that if we improve the quality of the water in our systems, that the biology will behave differently.
Exactly.
And yeah, and so we've used another device called an Ang3, a nano-V, that has the ability to actually improve partitioning of water inside the cells, which increases protein folding. And then we've talked about diminished deuterium water that has the ability to decrease cancer risk and improve health. And then high silica water from deep in the earth that also is naturally deuterium depleted. So this water that we're talking about, how does it compare to those things? Is it more structured water, or what are we talking about here?
We realized that water on this planet at this point in time exists in what we call a chaotic state. So H2O molecules, they kind of move chaotically, they crash into each other constantly. But since all of this is happening on an atomic level, nobody's really aware of that. We found a way to bring order back into this chaos. What we found that water can behave in these coherent fields, that's why we call it coherent. There is this, usually people talk about structured water, where the H2O molecules start to form this liquid crystalline state. But we actually found out that there is even more to it. There are coherent fields which start to move in harmony with each other. And through this very interesting process, water becomes alive. It actually becomes empowered, and it can do much more. Actually, we believe that it can do what nature intended to begin with. And we realized in our early research, we actually had a huge greenhouse where we tested first on plants. So we tested all kinds of waters to see how biophoton emissions would change. And after years of research, we found what we call now the full spectrum coherent water, the water that is in optimum state. And when you use this water on plants, you have by far the biggest biophoton emissions.
Well, that's interesting. So, I've noticed something with water and plants, and that is that either with plants or if you buy flowers, if you use tap water to water them, they're dead in a week. And yet, if we use, reverse osmosis water on them, like we might get it at a grocery store, Whole Foods, or someplace like that, and in both cases, you're using some plant food, they'll last for 3 weeks, easily last for 3 weeks. And it was stunning to me when that first happened, and I thought, wow, there must be some really toxic stuff in our tap water that's causing these plants to die within 3 weeks. So I guess the question I have, so the audience understands what he has developed, is think of it as a wand that's actually filled with this particular kind of water. And you put the wand, it's I don't know if it's glass or not, but I think it's glass, and you put it into another body of water and stir it around for a period of time, and it tends to imbue that water with the properties of the water inside the wand. So I'm just curious, I haven't tried this, but I would be interested to try doing that with tap water and see if the flowers would live longer. Are you saying that
I
they
mean,
would?
this is exactly that we were doing, and we were actually doing. We really went down the rabbit hole. So we did proper testing on plants and on people and on animals, when we really saw phenomenal and very, very repeatable results. So just to kind of make a step back, we realized that water is a broadband absorber, receiver, and transmitter of energy, frequency, and vibration. And we also realized that water is always going to pick up the most dominant frequency of its environment, which is really fascinating. Water is always going to copy whatever is kind of in its environment. When we realized this, our whole quest was to create the most dominant positive frequency water there is, because we knew that if we would expose any other water to it, all the water would become, just like you mentioned, imbued with a similar state. So what we did, we actually...
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. So if you, let's say you have a pitcher of water and you use the wand on this water, you're going to imbue the water in the pitcher with this quality, this structure,
Yes.
if you will, this energetic field almost, it sounds like. And then that you can use that water throughout the day. You can put it on your plants. You could drink it. What happens if you put it in a blender and you're going to make a smoothie, or you heat it up to make a cup of coffee or tea? Does it lose its? Because heat, of course, is going to induce lots of randomness in the system. Does it destroy what was done, or how does that work?
This is actually where it gets really interesting. Nothing actually happens when you heat the water and it reaches the boiling point. Of course, the molecules, or how we're going to call it, break. But as soon as the water kind of cools a little bit, everything, since water has this extraordinary memory, it will always not only pick up the most dominant frequency, it will remember it. So everything will kind of fall exactly in the same space. And we actually tested and retested it. This is actually, there was some scientists that created some form of coherent water or structured water, but we tested basically almost all of them. And the coherence, or the structure, lasts anywhere between a couple of minutes to a day and a half. Then the water goes back into the chaos. But with Aǹalemma Water, there is a huge difference, because we tested it now for 6 consecutive years after just one treatment. Water never goes back to chaos.
Never goes back after 6 years.
Yes, and actually it takes 1 full year for us to create the mother water. It takes 5 stages, and when it passes through the 5th stage, it never goes back. And this is why it's so extraordinary, and why the effects that we're having are so repeatable and so amazing.